This is a sad and somber time in the history of the United States of America. For the fourth time in our history, we are compelled by allegations of presidential wrongdoing so serious that we are engaged in an impeachment inquiry. While none of us ran for office to impeach a president, everyone on this stage agrees that we have put into place a fair series of procedures to govern how this process moves forward. These procedures are guided by the precedent Congress set under previous impeachment. They guarantee protections for the president and his counsel that were not expressly provided during prior impeachments, and they lay out a clear path forward so that the American people can hear firsthand the serious and alarming allegations about President Trump's abuse of power. I'm proud of the resolution we put together. I believe that it will withstand the test of time. I'm proud of the work of the Rules Committee. And even though it got somewhat contentious last night, I want to say I'm proud of the way all members, Democrats and Republicans, conducted themselves. There was no live streaming and narration during the markup. Nobody stormed the committee. Nobody seized a microphone. People behave, I think, in a way that is respectful of this institution, and I appreciate the cooperation of Ranking Member Tom Cole and the other Republicans as well. I want to thank all the committee chairs here for their hard work to uncover the truth on behalf of the American people. This vote is a victory not for any of us, but on behalf of the constituents who sent us here and who demand that we follow the facts and uphold our oath. I also want to thank the courageous civil servants who have come forward to testify so far, many in contradiction of this administration's attempts to silence them and at great risk to their own career. Let me conclude with this. I truly believe that 100 years from now, historians will look back at this moment and judge us by the decisions we are making here today. At the end of the day, this resolution isn't about Donald Trump. It isn't about any of us. It's about our Constitution, and it's about our country. And now I'm happy to yield to the distinguished chair of the Select Committee on Intelligence, Adam Schiff.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. This is a solemn day in the history of our country when the president's misconduct has compelled us to continue to move forward with an impeachment inquiry. The resolution today sets out the procedures going forward with that impeachment process. The Founding Fathers understood that a leader might take hold of the Oval Office who would sacrifice the national security, who would fail to defend the Constitution, who would place his personal or political interests above the interests of the country. They understood that might happen. And they provided a mechanism to deal with it, and that mechanism is called impeachment. We take no joy in having to move down this road and proceed with the impeachment inquiry, but neither do we shrink from it. The resolution from the perspective of the Intelligence Committee sets out important procedures for how we may conduct our open hearings. During the depositions that we've conducted thus far, we've used a format that we believe very conducive to the fact-finding process. Those procedures now will be incorporated into the open hearings in which staff counsel will be permitted for lengthy periods of time to do sustained questioning for up to 45 minutes per side, followed by member questioning. We've used this, I think, to great success for both parties during the course of the depositions, where in the depositions we have alternated 1 hour for the majority, 1 hour for the minority, 45 minutes for the majority, 45 minutes for the minority. In those depositions, over 100 members have been eligible to participate. I should tell you that notwithstanding those that have complained about lack of access to the depositions, most of the members who have been permitted to attend have failed to attend, have not made use of the availability of attending each and every deposition. But those that have, on both sides of the aisle, have had an equal opportunity to question the witnesses. And indeed, when we move into open session, both parties will have an equal opportunity to question any witnesses that are called. The resolution will also permit me, as the chair, to begin releasing the transcripts of the depositions. And I think that you will see when those are released just what equal opportunity members of both parties have had. We recognize the seriousness of this undertaking. We recognize that we have been compelled by the circumstances to move forward. when a president abuses his or her office, when a president sacrifices the national interest, when a president refuses to defend the Constitution, and does so for the purpose of advancing a personal or political agenda, the founders provided the remedy. I make no prejudgment as to whether that remedy will be warranted when we finish these hearings. I will wait until all the facts are put forward. We will undertake this duty with the seriousness it deserves and to the best of our ability.
We just had a vote on the floor. In March of this year, Speaker Pelosi said this about impeachment. Impeachment is so divisive to the country that unless there's something so compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, I don't think we should go down that path because it divides the country. Today, the country just witnessed the only bipartisan vote on that floor was against. The question to the Speaker are the same questions I provided in the letter about the unfair process that we had. What has changed since March? In all the hearings, there's nothing compelling, nothing overwhelming. So the Speaker should follow her own words on what bipartisan vote on that floor and in the sham that has been putting this country through this nightmare. That's exactly what this vote shows today. I want to call up our whip, Steve Scalise. Thank you, Kevin. And when we talk about the vote, I think it's important to note, when you see that not only did every single Republican reject this Soviet-style impeachment process, but we were even joined by Democrats who couldn't stand it anymore. If you look at where we are right now, we're at an important point in history. Clearly, there are people that we serve with that don't like the results of the 2016 election. That's their prerogative. But the country next year will be deciding who our president is going to be. It should not be Nancy Pelosi and a small group of people that she selects that can determine who's going to be our president. If you look at the resolution today, they talk about fairness. Now, if they really think that they can tell people it's fair, that only the chairman gets to decide who the witnesses are, and they give us an opportunity to call witnesses, but if the chair says that they don't like the witnesses don't come forward. They allow the president to have legal counsel in the room unless the chair decides that they don't want the president's legal counsel in the room. That's never happened before. With the Clinton impeachment, with the Nixon impeachment, Republican and Democrat alike, both sides were treated equally. Both sides could call witnesses. The president's legal counsel was in the room, not at the discretion of the chair, but because it's fair. And so when you look at this Soviet-style process, it shows you that they don't really want to get to the truth. They want to remove a sitting president. In fact, the author of the articles of impeachment said, if they don't impeach the president, he will get reelected. Now, that's not why we have impeachment. Alexander Hamilton made it very clear. His concern when they were trying to promote the Constitution was that he didn't want to see impeachment used for political purposes. Yet that's what happened today. He predicted it, and it happened today. It's a sham. It shouldn't have happened. It's a tainted process that Adam Schiff's been conducting, that Nadler might one day conduct. The House deserves better. The people of this country deserve better. We should be tackling real problems. We could have lower prescription drug prices today, but Pelosi won't bring those bills to the floor because she's infatuated with impeachment. Our troops could be properly funded, but if Pelosi is infatuated with impeachment. In fact, we could have better trade relations with Canada and Mexico and create 160,000 new jobs today, but Pelosi's infatuated with impeachment. We deserve better.
You say that process leads to substance. The president is now asking all of you to defend him against the substance of these allegations. Will you do that? Will you all go on the record and say that the president did nothing inappropriate?
Very clear. And I think you heard members up here being very clear. The question that Adam Schiff brought forth to us after he lied the first time and put America through the nightmare of the Mueller investigation was now that the administration was withholding a whistleblower. But there was a phone call that there was quid pro quo. Now unheard of, you had a president release the transcript of the phone call. We now found after the fact that Adam Schiff and his staff actually met with the whistleblower. The only person in this Congress who knows who the whistleblower is Adam Schiff. The only person who's withholding the whistleblower from coming forward is Adam Schiff. We look at the phone call. For quid pro quo, somebody has to take an action for another. There's nothing in that phone call that is wrong or impeachable. If you had the transcripts that we've been going for more than 3 weeks, that no one's been able to read, you would again go forward with wondering why this is moving forward. No one, is my understanding down there, has ever said there was a quid pro quo. For the same fear that Hamilton said more than 200 years ago is what watched that came forth today. So this isn't about the Republican Party. This is about the Republic. No one should ever go through this again. We believe in the rule of law, but unfortunately in Nancy's house, we do not.